Launch team wishes you good luck and Godspeed.
Space monkeys blasting off with the token blonde about Darwinia bridging in the multi-chain future. Megan, so good to have you up here. Welcome to the show.
Hey Jay, thanks for having me on.
It's awesome. You know, I've seen you around for as long as I've been in the Dotsama ecosystem. Early on in Chaos DAO, then I go to Polka House, you're there, and you're an early contributor to WAG Media. I'm wondering if you could tell us what you're seeing in the people and the ecosystem in the midst of this market downturn.
At times like this, I try to stay back and be an observer of what's going on in the market. But I've got to be honest. I mean, I'm wrecked with like most of us as well. So,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's rough on all of us. But what's so great about the Polkadot ecosystem is we just keep on building. For the Itering Tech has been involved with Polkadot since 2017 or so, 2018, and we started our first testnet. And at times like this, we just hit the code and do what's important to move forward when the market conditions improve. But what's really a bit depressing is trying to get people involved at this point is quite difficult because obviously they're depressed and not always interested in keeping up at the latest news because the market is just, it's just depressing.
Slight lack of enthusiasm all around.
Exactly, yeah. But that's okay. We move on.
Yeah, you mentioned Itering Tech there. Can you tell us a little bit about what that organization is all about?
So Itering Tech was founded by Alex Chien and Denny Wang back in 2017. And actually, they started working together on the BitShares project in 2013. So have a long relationship before they got started with Itering Tech. And basically, it's a blockchain company that has a number of different products, which most people are familiar with Subscan. But we also make Darwinia Network as well as Helix Bridge, which is formerly Wormhole. Nothing to do with Solana. Darwinia Network and Evolution Land.
Okay, so when did you get involved here?
I got involved back in 2020 now, I guess, coming up on 2 years, when the first hype around Darwinia started and Crowd mainnet launched after a couple years and iterations of testnets. And I started running validators for Darwinia mainnet when the network went live. So that would be around September 2020. And I was involved in the community just because it's such a large ecosystem and so many different moving parts. It does take quite a few months of study to get familiar with everything. So I dedicated myself to the community back in September when I started running validators and was looking for nominations. And as the months went by, I was eventually invited to work for the company. So I jumped at the opportunity.
What was it that attracted you to the project in the first place?
Mostly it's about interoperability. When I started learning about Polkadot and XCM and the vision for interconnectivity of all the parachains, that's basically what sold me on Darwinia because of their focus on bridging and interoperability between layer 1 chains. So it's just about working with other projects, and I felt it would be a good opportunity to explore various aspects of the blockchain world because being a bridge, we really touch on all different kinds of consensus and different blockchains. So it's been quite exciting to be with Itering so far.
On your Twitter, your role is team lead, but I feel like maybe this is understating what you do a little bit.
Yeah, I call myself team lead, but I do a little bit of everything, like many of us in the blockchain space. Officially, I'm head of the business development team for the Western side, and we've also got a team that's based in Singapore that works on the opposite time zone. So we are involved with approaching different projects on different time zones. And so, yeah, I coordinate our Western operations over here for business development and our social media, but I also help out in our community and manage our ambassadors. So, yeah, I work closely with Jesse, J-Dubs, as we all know.
Yeah.
I'm also a crypto hustler on the evolution side to help promote knowledge and awareness of our blockchain game Evolution Land.
When I first heard about Darwinia, it was around what you were talking about there, September of 2020, and they were introduced to me as like the bridge hub of Dotsama. What can you tell us about how that vision has evolved to where it is now, and where you think you see it in the next 6 months?
Kind of tying in with the evolutionary theme, Darwinia is evolving right now towards becoming more of a general kind of message delivery network. So early marketing and our ambitious goal was to become like one of the primary in and out points of the Polkadot ecosystem. But as things have evolved and other bridge projects have kind of evolved as well, some have grown up a lot faster than others. And so we found that it's a lot of projects have decided to go with something that just works versus something that is more considerate of security and other factors.
Yes, right.
Yeah, so there are a few different bridge architectures and a few different bridge types. And Darwinia is focused on being like a general programmable solution versus something that's like application or chain specific. And if I were to give a couple examples of what those are, that would be Polygon, their proof of stake bridge, and something that's asset specific is something like wrapped Bitcoin or wrapped assets. And so we're focusing on the programmable generalized message delivery network. So we're a light client-based bridge, but we weren't always a light client-based bridge. At first, the original vision for the architecture was an optimistic design. So we were originally relying on our validator set in order to accomplish this kind of optimistic challenges that are required. But this involves a degree of trust that we didn't really want to. We didn't want our users to be obligated to trust us. So that's when we moved to this more like client-based header relay system, which is it follows the parity mantra more closely, less trust and more truth. So our goal is to operate as close to the level of consensus as possible. We're more specializing in EVM chains for the moment. So we're working on Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Tron, Polygon, Pico, and we will expand out to possibly AVAX. I think we've also got Moonriver on our agenda.
This bridging solution for EVM chains, I mean, we've been hearing a lot about insecure bridges over the past 4 or 5 months. How is this solution any more secure than the bridging that is common today?
So when it comes to security, there's a few different, you can break that down into a few different categories when it comes to bridges. And a bridge is basically just a system that transfers information between two or more blockchains. So the security, there's a few different models, and the one that we're probably most familiar with in the industry is the trusted model. And you can put Wormhole and Ronin into that category. So basically, if something happens to the bridge and it gets hacked, there's no guarantee that any of the funds are going to be recovered. There's no slashing mechanism or countermeasures for hackers that would steal funds. They take them, they're gone. And then moving on from there to the more towards the trustless side, we've got bonded and insured bridges, and then the truly trustless ones, which inherit the security of the source chain. And that's what Darwinia is. And client-based bridges are generally trustless solutions that um, they're trustless to the extent that the header relay network can be abstracted away, like the reliance on the relay network, because it only takes one
Okay.
of the bridge relayers to challenge like a potentially bad block. So there can be 100 relayers, and you can knock 99 of them off, and if there's only one left, it'll be able to initiate a challenge. Which recently we've heard about the Rainbow Bridge attack on the NEAR protocol, and that was unsuccessful because of this, the way the network is set up with header relays, but also this optimistic challenge system. An attacker tried to steal funds by joining the bridge relayers and submitting a malicious incorrect block. And one of the monitoring relayers in the bridge relayer network saw that was an invalid block, submitted a challenge to the Ethereum mainnet, and that challenge was submitted with default gas. And so a minor extractable value like sandwich trade system came in and arbed that with a faster gas, and ended up dinging the hacker for like 2.5 ETH or something like that. Basically, the attacker lost all his money. So that system is trustless to the extent that this fraud can be proved, and it happens really quickly. Light clients and relays are basically trustless when they're set up with these optimistic challenges, and that's what Darwinia does.
Right now you have Crab deployed. What's the roadmap here for using this technology to connect to other EVM chains?
So right now because Crab has onboarded as a parachain to Kusama, we're really focusing on getting the XCM tested and working properly, so we can, as a first step now, get Kusama interconnected with our own bridge message protocol. So we'll begin to start relaying traffic that's XCMP based, and we'll be able to relay that to Ethereum based or other EVM chains once we're fully done with that deployment. And soon after that, we'll be opening up not only the message pathways from Ethereum, but also to Binance, BNB, Polygon, and Tron is also on the roadmap for this year.
And then are you guys still working on substrate to substrate bridges as well?
We have a functional substrate to substrate bridge between our actually, there's 5 of them slated for deployment, and I'm not sure how many are deployed right now, but we have at least 2 of them going between Crab and the Crab Parachain, which are 2 separate networks, and our Crab network and Darwinia network. So those are all functioning right now with our bridge message protocol. We still retain the bridge hub design, so we've got 4 networks, 2 solo chains, and the 2 parachains that are designed to interoperate, and yes, to exchange value between the relay chains, Polkadot and Kusama.
What can you tell us about Evolution Land? What was the purpose of building it, and what purpose does it serve going forward in the Darwinia roadmap?
Alex and Denny, our co-founders, were originally they originally wanted to deploy a game. And so they came up with the white paper and the vision for the game, and one of the features was going to be cross-chain interactions. And while trying to, and this is back in 2017, so when trying to come up with a solution of how they were going to do these cross-chain NFT interactions, that's when they came up with the bridge idea, because it was still a very, very new concept. And the bridges that were built were basically like not insured, trusted models. So we just figured we could do it better. And so we pivoted our focus from the game towards working with Substrate to build this bridge hub network so that we could communicate with all the chains we wanted to deploy Evolution Land on.
So the game came before the bridges?
The game came before the bridges, yeah. And originally, like our Darwinia Network Twitter account was named Evolution Land, and we there was like a kind of like meshing of the two projects, but now we're doing our best to keep them quite separate. And that goes for the Helix bridge as well. Like Helix bridge is managed by its own DAO, and then Crab and Darwinia networks have their own DAOs. The bridge relayers and the header relayer network is another DAO. We try to keep things as decentralized as possible.
Blockchain games, a lot are being deployed lately, and Dotsama, we have a few big ones coming up. Obviously, Sky Breach and whatever Donnie's building. How do you think Evolution Land fits into this landscape going forward?
Oh, that's a great question. So, because we've designed the game to support cross-chain interactions, it's an open platform that is compatible with any NFTs that are ERC 721 or ERC 1155. So we have this opportunity to integrate other projects, and we've done that as the years have gone by. We've integrated CryptoKitties, which you can equip onto your apostles to kind of boost their mood and morale. And that improves their mining efficiency and also improves their battle efficiency. And we've got Polka Pets, and we're also working with the Mark as well in order to integrate Canary.
Amazing.
And we're in talks with, because we've recently launched a beta of our player versus player. You can take your apostles and pair them with characters from other games. So that's super exciting. And in the next couple of weeks or months, we're going to be announcing some integrations with other blockchain games.
Were you guys equipping NFTs before equipping NFTs was cool?
We were, actually. You could kind of say that. Our apostles, equipable items, and also, for instance, the virtual land that's for sale in the game, you can equip the land with apostles to mine it, but also you can equip with mining implements that don't rely on the apostles. And when you go to sell the land, these assets have always been associated with it. So you could, back from 2017, we were doing NFT staking, and we're also doing nested NFTs.
Okay, that is so cool. And you mentioned Remark there as like an internal Dotsama integration. Are there any other projects you guys are working with that you're excited about right now?
The ones I'm most excited about, I can't actually talk about because a lot of these projects require integrations before we actually make the announcements. But there's one or two that are getting really close, and I think once people see that we've partnered with these projects, so they're going to be more inclined to want to approach us for integrations.
Okay, so coming up, we have a few integrations that are getting pretty close. What else can you tell us about, let's say, the next 6 months for the Crab network there?
Once we onboarded to Kusama, we had some kind of an overwhelming demand from, again, a number of Parachain projects that wanted connections to ETH. And so our dev team, we really got swamped with all of these new requests, and they kind of stopped talking to our business development team for a little while because they're obviously totally busy. But I see in the last month or two, we've hired a bunch of new developers.
Nice.
And so progress is just going steadily, slowly but surely towards getting this in-out point for the Polkadot ecosystem set up.
How big is the team these days?
We have we've got over 20 developers, and so
nice.
And we've got around 10 people on our marketing team, and we've got dozens of ambassadors. It's a big team. There's a lot of moving pieces.
I guess I'm curious about Darwinia. You guys dipped into auctions when they first started on Polkadot. You kind of taken a step back lately. Going forward, are you guys going for a Parachain anytime soon?
I see that we have some activity when it comes to our Darwinia Parachain. But we're so swamped with these other requests from on the Crab network side that I think going ahead with the Darwinia Parachain wouldn't be. I mean, it would just sit there basically unused because we're backed up with all this other work.
Yes.
And the Darwinia has had a bit of a different philosophy when it comes to getting a working product out in the space before trying to raise funds or trying to attract attention. So we've been flying under the radar for the most part, while we're developing this, this bridge to EVM chains outside Dotsama.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's nice to have a working product, and having the independent solo chains, we've been able to demonstrate our working product. I mean, long before we went for a parachain on Kusama or Polkadot.
So looking out into the future, past this little depression that we're in, how are you feeling about Dotsama, and what are your hopes for the Twin network over the next 3 to 5 years?
What I'm really excited about is getting into the point in time where Polkadot becomes a more mature technology.
Yeah.
Especially as XEM becomes properly integrated and useful between parachains. So I think we have to wait for that to mature before Polkadot as a network as a whole will start to take off and get the user adoption.
Yeah, good point.
So yeah, we're still at the stages of getting the infrastructure working properly before projects can come in and develop their applications to abstract away all the inner workings and the technical bits of Polkadot, which is really off-putting for the majority of users. I think that have no idea how blockchain works. I mean, it's a lot easier to take up MetaMask, for example, than use Polkadot.js. So yeah, I think we're still a few years away yet before getting to the point of more mass adoption of the Polkadot ecosystem compared to other layer ones that have got a bit of a head start on us. But I think fundamentally the technology is there.
Yes.
So the adoption is inevitable. It's just a matter of time. And in the meantime, we just keep building.
Do you think we have enough builders to realize the potential of Dotsama?
I think so. And there's more coming on board all the time.
Yeah.
At least if we trust some of the recent statistics when it comes to different layer ones and the number of developers that are active.
Awesome. Well, it's always nice to see you around the chat rooms and Twitter. I think a lot of people look up to you and all the work you're doing in the ecosystem, especially with a project like this, like bringing it to this side of the world and helping us understand everything that's happening with it. I want to thank you for all the work you're doing and also for coming up here today, explaining it to us and helping us out. Thanks a lot for coming on the show.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for inviting me. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Take care.